Hi guys, 18 Dapper here and welcome to the latest matchday preview. It's for this Tuesday night's fixture in League 2. It's Salford City versus Doncaster Rovers. Let's get the video started. So guys, welcome to the latest matchday preview, Salford versus Doncaster Rovers in League 2, and it's another big one for the Rovers. I wouldn't say it's a must-win game, but we need to get points on the board as soon as possible. But yeah, if you are an existing subscriber, thank you so much for supporting the channel and continuing to do so. It does mean a great deal to me. And if this video has brought you to the channel and you enjoy the content and you want to see more, please consider clicking subscribe so you don't miss any future content. And if this is the first video that you have seen on this channel, this is a format that we go through match previews for every single league game. We look at the previous meetings between the two clubs, current form across all competitions. I say a few words about a Doncaster Rovers player, and then I give my opinion on the opponent's one to watch, so the player to watch for Salford in this one. But you know your club much better than what I do, so if you think somebody else is worthy of a mention, get them in the comments down below. And then we'll finish the video off with 3 predictions. The predicted team lineup thanks to FanHub. Wonderful app, go ahead and download it. Predictions league table, what me and the family do, and then the all important score prediction at the very end. So without further ado, let's get into previous meetings. Salford and Donny not faced off too many times in our history, only 3 that I can find, and Rovers have won 1, Salford have won 2, so not great reading in the few games that we've played. We take a closer look at those 3. Normally we drill down into the more recent 5, but obviously only 3 games between us competitively, and they started last season in the 2022-23 season where we shared the spoils. Rovers won 2-1 at home and Salford beat us 3-1 at the Peninsula. Earlier this season we did get beaten 3-0 at home, so hopefully last season is a bit of an omen and we share the spoils once again and get a win at the Peninsula this time. But yeah, Matt Smith had an absolute field day in the fixture at the Eco Power Stadium early in the season. Yeah, hopefully he's not on form tomorrow night. Current form though, it's not great reading for us Rovers fans. Slightly better after the win on Saturday, but yeah, in the last 5 it was a win on penalties in the Bristol Street Motors Trophy, and then a league defeat and then the Bristol Street Motors Trophy defeat, and then a draw against Sutton, and then a victory against Tranmere last time out. Salford on the other hand, pretty decent, a win, a draw, 2 wins and a draw coming into this one. But on Donny, absolute massive win for us on Saturday. It did see our relegation worries eased slightly, but it certainly doesn't mean that we're out of the woods at all. Still a long way to go. We're only 10 points clear, but a gritty, determined performance on Saturday saw us hold on to a 1-goal lead against an informed Tranmere who were pretty decent on the day. If I'm being honest, I thought they put us under pressure, and we stood firm and held on to that 1-goal lead and came out 2-1 winners to move 10 points away from Sutton, who are in 23rd at the minute. We looked more defensively sound on Saturday, I think, than in previous weeks, and for me, I think we looked a lot more comfortable on the ball. But this week we have got 2 massive games. They just keep coming thick and fast. But this week, obviously Salford tomorrow and then Grimsby on Saturday, both away from home. It could see us with more breathing space between us and Sutton, or we could be well and truly dragged back into it. So a very important week for Doncaster Rovers in League 2 this season. On to Salford, they're currently unbeaten in the league in 6, which has eased their relegation worries as well. They were looking over the shoulder at one point, and I think they should be okay at this point now. Obviously, a bit like Donny, they're not out of the woods yet, but they have got 13 points breathing space, currently sitting 19th. So I think Sutton and Forest Green certainly have got a lot of work to do to catch the teams up above them. Some good results for Salford over the last couple of weeks against decent teams as well. With wins against Wrexham and Crewe just shows how good they are and how dangerous they can be. A couple of decent draws as well against teams in and around them. And I say how good they can be and how dangerous they can be. I think Salford fans would probably agree with me that it's been a bit of a anticlimactic season, underperforming season for Salford. I say that from the outside looking in because I always expect Salford to be fighting at the top end and at the right end of the League 2 table, and they certainly have been for a number of seasons. So to see them as low as they currently are, it is a surprise for me. Just like it's seeing Donny down here, to be honest. It's been a difficult season for both of us, and I think both teams will just want to kind of see it out, be a League Two club next season, and hopefully have a good summer and push on. On to player profile. So for this one, in a Donny shirt, I have gone with Richard Wood, 38-year-old veteran centre back, and for me, I've chose Woody because I think it's great to see him back in the team and producing performances that we expected when he initially signed. Rotherham fans waxing lyrical about him, they absolutely love him over in that part of South Yorkshire, and it was a great player for them, a great servant for Rotherham, and just seems to really steady the ship and organise them, and that's what we needed. And he didn't quite hit the ground running at the start of the season. A couple of shaky performances, and a lot of fans were on his back. But I think we saw on Saturday the Richard Wood that we expected. Really organising the back line. I thought we looked sure of ourselves, and I think that organisation and kind of marshalling of the defence that Richard Wood gives you was clear for everybody to see on Saturday. By far the best that I've seen the defence in terms of positioning. We weren't rushing things, we were playing it around fairly confidently, and I think that calming influence of Richard Wood and like I say, the organisation that it gives you, I think that was clear to see in the calmness of our play at the back. So hopefully he remains fit for the remainder of the season, because I think he could be very, very important in our fight for survival as it still is. So yeah, great to see Woody back. On to the opponents want to watch. So as I said at the start of the video, you know your club much better than what I do. So if there's somebody else who you think deserves a mention at this point, if you're a Salford fan, get them in the comments down below. Or even if you're not a Salford fan and you know a bit about League Two more than what I do, because I do like to be educated and learn more as the season goes on. But for this one, I've gone with a fairly obvious option of Matt Smith. He's just one of those players, isn't he? Far too good for this level. I'd love to see him in a Rovers shirt, but 34 years old, centre forward, bags and bags of experience across the EFL and across his career. 513 appearances, 134 goals and 44 assists. But this season he is in I think you can call it a purple patch. It's his best season ever across his career. 20 goals, a couple of assists, and 3 of those goals came against Doncaster earlier in the season. And I just hope that he's not on form tomorrow night, because we struggle with lump strikers, and that's meant in no disrespectful way. He is just seen as your big target man. We just always struggle. So I think seeing Richard Wood back in the defence and looking decent again, I think he's going to have a very, very busy night keeping Matt Smith quiet. I think if we do keep Matt Smith quiet, I do think we've got a chance of coming away with something. I'd love to come away with a point. I'd absolutely be ecstatic to come away with all 3. But with Matt Smith in your team against Doncaster, lump money on him scoring at least 1. He always does. Hate to see his face. Just absolute menace. Absolute menace when it comes to playing Donny. So I'm not looking forward to seeing him on the pitch tomorrow night. On to the predicted team lineup. So as I said at the start of the video, this is thanks to FanHub. If you've not downloaded the app yet, please go ahead and do so. Loads of features to get your team stuck into. You get rewarded for following your team up and down the country. What more could you want in an app? And I use it mainly for the predicted team lineup and the FanHub 5s. But yeah, for this one I have gone with the following team lineup. Pretty much unchanged from Saturday's win against Tranmere. The only player out is Oluwu, and that's because he came off injured. I'm not sure what that injury was. If he'll be available on Tuesday, I'm not sure. He seemed to be walking okay coming out of the stadium, so it might be okay and it might be an unchanged team. But I've gone cautiously. I've gone with Lo Tatala in goal. I thought he was fantastic on Saturday. The back 4 of Sterry at right back, again, had a fantastic game on Saturday. Oluwu swapped out for McGrath. Richard Wood and Senior at left back. Midfield 3 of Craig, Bailey and Waters, with a front 3 of Molyneux, Adelaken and Joe Ironside. So I think maybe that could be the 11. Oluwu could be in there if he's still fit. I'm not sure if McGrath will be back from his injury as well, and obviously any sort of knocks and stuff picked up on Saturday we might not know. So yeah, that's the 11 that I'm going with. onto the predictions league table. So if you're new to this, me and the family predict the scoreline for every single league game. You get it spot on, you get 3 points. Get the outcome of the game right, but not the scoreline, you get 1 point. Get it completely wrong, it is no points, and I'm doing pretty well. Let's get the table up there. I got a scoreline spot on. I went with 2-1 to Donny, so I'm on 23 points. Chris went with a 2-1 to Donny as well, so he leapfrogs Max into second on 14 points. Max went with a 3-2, so he gets 1 point, which keeps him in touching distance of Chris. And my dad went with a Desmond 2-2, so no points for him. He stays bottom on 10, running away with it. And finally, that takes me to my score prediction for this one. I take a draw right now. I think draw as away games, try and win as many of his home games, and we'll be fine. We'll be safe. So with that being said, I think I'm going to go with Salford 2, Donny 2. I think the confidence of beating Tranmere will give us a bit of a boost. Well, Salford, they're a decent team. I think Matt Smith will be on the score sheet, but we looked like we were a bit more expressive and there was a bit more attacking intent on Saturday. So hopefully we can take that into our away games and bring something home. So yeah, I'm going with a good old Desmond for this one. And that's where I'm going to leave this. If you've enjoyed it, stick a big thumbs up on it for us, please. Comments in the section down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.